What's up guys, it's Captain Stonksy here. I'm back with another replay analysis, this time coming from SadLamp on Reddit. So kudos on the great name, and looks like it's gonna be some 2v2 Diamond 1 to Diamond 2 gameplay. He says in the Reddit post that he's really improved his mechanics since reaching Diamond 1, so it'll be interesting to see whether it's awareness or if it's mechanics that we need to be paying attention to. But let's just take it to the top and prepare to enjoy a kickoff here, hopefully with a flip. Oh, really nice to see the flip using all of the boosts, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's all right, I would say, as long as you get a good win on the kickoff. A little bit hunting for demos here, don't mind that. It's an aggressive playstyle by all the looks of it. Pushing up into position. Poor touch from the opposition, easily capitalized on. Nice boost steal here. It's looking pretty good, but let's take it back a little bit and really dive into what's happening after the kickoff. Side flip kickoff, that works. A little bit of a chase here, but that's putting on a lot of pressure, and here is where I would have kind of already liked to see you turn down instead of going for some sort of, like, this is where I would just like to see you turn down instead of jumping out into infinity basically and going for some kind of challenge. I'm not sure what's the point of that, but good recovery back, chasing the demo, rotating back corner. That's decent. Your mate is also looking rather comfortable on the ball. Good speed moving around the pitch, using a lot of boost, but also getting a lot of boost grabs, so something to be mindful of for this analysis going forward, at least, is the boost management. Definitely using a lot of it, as we can see here. That's one of, once you reach Diamond, you're starting to really look for these sort of, it's hard to really know what to do to rank up, and it becomes really touch and go with a lot of the things. It's fine detailed gameplay that you have to improve on, and boost management is definitely a huge one. So if we see what these 65 boosts are spent on, it's going side to side and side to side. So a flip, and you would have still had plenty of boost, but it works out here. So I mean, it's not, when it's these few finely grained things that you have to improve on, it's not always going to be like a decisive oh, you clearly whiffed the ball here, so that's why they scored. It's going to be many of these small things, like just being stuck in net with 0 boost, that are gonna be making the difference. So let's see, let's take it back once more. Definitely already noticing the boost management, so that's something that's worth working on already. Let's see if it becomes a huge issue. I like to find some key things for players to work on when I'm coaching them, so I'll try to not focus too much on your boost management going forward, because I'm already noticing that you're spending a lot of it where you don't have to. But the positioning is good, so far anyway. But let's try and pay attention. It's a strange game for 2v2 when you talk about rotations, because normally in 3v3 you have 3 quite clear roles with the first and the second and the third, but in 2v2 it's a much more on the fly rotational game. There's no, well, sometimes you kind of become second man in position, but mostly you're either in first man position or third man position. So it's there's a tendency for players to be in second man position, which means going for really risky plays So if you take this situation, in 3v3 you would be number 2 right now, and number 1 would be this guy up here, of course. But in a 2v2 game, you're kind of playing both 2 and 3 position. So, and most players, when they're trying to rank up, they make the mistake of playing number 2 way too much. So, because if you're number 2 man in 3v3, you've got someone behind you. You've always got someone behind you. But if you miss as your second guy in 2s, that's it. That's game over. They should be scoring. So if you look at this ball from that frame of mind, should we be going for this? How sure are we? There's already one guy jumping. You're jumping at the same time. There hasn't been a ton of pressure put on red side yet, so they're not gonna be totally boost starved. So I would actually say that this is a misplay going for this ball, because if you take an awkward 50-50, that's a goal on their end, a goal for a red team. So it becomes a 50-50, decent enough. It's kind of flew out, so you bought enough time for your mate to return. But if we take it back and look at what I would have done in this situation, I would have pushed up a bit to add the pressure, and then turned around as soon as I saw him jump. Because as soon as he jumps, he's fully committed, and he's not in a position where he can do any real damage. He maybe gets a clear, gets to the sidewall, but as soon as he's touched it, it's pretty much your ball. So if you add enough pressure for him to jump and go for it, and you stay and sort of scout the next possible play, then odds are good that you're gonna be the next guy on the ball, and they already have a mate out, and your mate is gonna be rotating back as he did in the play that actually ends up developing here. But these are the kinds of things that I pay a lot of attention to when I'm watching 2v2, is whether or not you play it as a second man. This is such an ugly such an ugly 2. I'm still learning to draw correctly, but that is definitely the main thing to pay attention to in 2, is whether or not you're playing as a second man in position or a third man in position, because it is a really risky play that going off for that ball. It doesn't look like it was risky maybe, but it definitely was, because if you take a slightly more unfortunate touch, then they should be scoring, and they will be scoring in champ or above. So a little bit of an awkward whiff here. Let's see if anything could have been done about it. Sort of an aggressive touch into the side, really awkward pinch 50-50, and your mate just straight up whips the ball. So there's not too much to say about this play from your perspective. Excuse me. There's not much need for you to be this aggressive on the ball, especially going back to my previous point that you are the last man in position. You kind of need to be worrying about buying time for your mate rather than making big plays and scoring goals. So pushing the ball into this is decent, but then you kind of need to buy time here instead of rushing for challenges. In the end, it is your mate that just kind of has an unfortunate mechanical misplay, but nice stall there as well. So definitely mechanical ability is up there, and that's not gonna be a problem for you, I wouldn't say. So the question for improvement becomes making the right decisions, rather than can you reach the ball fast and can you move around the pitch quickly enough, because that you definitely can. Yeah, wave dashes won't work if you're falling for too long, so I like to see that though. It's a really important aspect. Sorry, it's all this corona in these days, I guess. But yeah, if you can wave dash off the wall and jump, that's basically supersonic and you save a ton of boost. So, but having established your mechanics as good enough doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. So let's just go back and have a look at the plays as they evolve. Good, 50-50, nice clear out from your mate. That's a nice position to be in. Here, I don't know if you're in comms with your teammate or not. I'm going to assume that you aren't, so because that's how most people play. So in this position here, if you tap rear view mirror, that gives you access to exactly what your teammate is doing, where you need to be playing this ball. Because going up blind like this, what are you actually supposed to do? So you don't know what is the optimal play, because you don't know where your teammate is or what's actually going on the field. So you just kind of, I wouldn't say mindlessly, but sort of automatically you just go for some kind of center and hope for the best. But you really need to be putting yourself in a position of knowing what the right thing to do is before you can actually do the right thing. Of course, that is only something that I can say because your mechanics seem pretty decent for your level, and maybe actually above average for a low diamond to mid diamond. So when you get into this position of having enough mechanical ability to move around the pitch without having to think about it too much, that frees up space for you to actually become more aware of where everybody is on the pitch. So you need to start, as you rank up to champ, maybe start paying attention to how much boost does everybody have. Are they boost starved? Because that's when you know, especially in twos, you need to know how much boost the other team has, because you need to know when you can push up and be that aggressive second man instead of having to play sort of a defensive third man. So decent mechanics here. Definitely good to see. So we can focus on the awareness side of things. There are I also don't like to see you jumping for this. This is definitely a super aggressive play. This is the right play if it was 3v3, but in 2v2, it's a toss-up between you two, and where's the ball gonna go? It's probably gonna be zooming out unless you can recover or unless you get some kind of really fortunate touch. And there's nobody back, so it could be a goal right off from this one. So very aggressive. He gets it first. Even if you would have gotten it at the same time with the 50-50, the math on this just says that it's gonna shoot out this way. So you know the geometry of the ball being pinched in between here says it's gonna be sent that way. So just, you know, play your second man position as if you were a third man, as if it was a 3v3. I don't know how comfortable you are with 3v3, but that's definitely what I would have wanted to see here, moving back across the pitch instead of going for the pass. Just because there is a pass, this is something a lot of players in 2v2 will either, you know, you have that guy who says my mates never go for passes, or an aggressive demo here. But to make my point, when you're ranking up in Diamond, a lot of 2v2 players will just pass the ball every single time, and they will sort of become angry at you if you don't go for it. But you actually shouldn't be going for, I would say, most of the passes in 2v2, because you have to make sure that you get it. You have to be like 95% sure that you are the man who gets the ball, because if you don't, then it's an open net. And that's gonna be something that maybe not at low Diamond, but certainly something that changes from Diamond to Champ is the fact that when players are given an open net, they score it. So you can sort of... I understand feeling like you need to go for the pass once there is a pass that's been given, but that's definitely just not the case in 2v2. In 3v3 definitely, but not in 2v2. So really nice rotation back here. A lot of speed after the dangerous situation. These demos are also something that I would prefer to see in 3v3, but in 2v2 you are risking leaving your guy in a 1v2 if you don't get the demo, and you spend a lot of boost getting the demo. So it's rarely gonna be a good play unless you are already in a 2v1 situation and your mate has the ball dribbling towards net. Feel free to move up and go for the demo or go for the pressure on the goalkeeper. That's really where I want to see demos in a 2v2 game. Not so much the, oh, my mate has a dribble on the other opponent. It seems like it's going okay. I'll take out the keeper. That's a very risky play, because if your mate doesn't get the dribble, that's a goal for red team. So, but really good speed back here. It's a really nice mechanics, I would say. Definitely up to speed on compared to other diamond players. Super nice shot. Really good hit on the ball here, and some power sliding after you're celebrating. It just speaks to the difference between really good mechanics and average mechanics. This wall play here is a little bit awkward and makes the save very awkward as well. So I wasn't a huge fan of this style of kickoff that you did. Grabbing one boost pad and then sitting in net is, I would say that's more of a gold and below type of maneuver, where you're sort of expecting your mate to get like super dunked on or something, so you're ready for that. But you shouldn't be. That shouldn't really be a thing that happens in Diamond, and certainly not in Champ. So you can always assume that your mate is gonna get a 50-50 and the ball isn't just gonna go straight into net. So as a 2v2 play on the kickoff, I would say you can cheat up, grab some boosts, or you can go for a big boost. And if you go for a big boost, make sure that it's going in the direction that your mate is coming from, because your mate is gonna be moving this way for the just try that again. Your mate is gonna be moving this way on the kickoff, so he's gonna be landing over here and looking for either this boost or this boost down here in the corner. So always make sure, if you are going for the big boost, go for the big boost in the corner from which your mate came from, so that you don't end up taking this boost out here and their second guy gets this boost, so that your mate is like struggling and has to move all the way back into this corner for the big boost. So, and the third option, I would say, I sometimes do this myself, is to just sort of camp around and take these little boost pads and see what happens. Instead of going for the big boost and instead of cheating up, you can sort of do the middle way of those two extremes, but don't just take one and sit in it. It also means that you don't have any momentum. So, and here's the big boost, and this looked very awkward compared to what your level of mechanics are. So a tip for coming off the wall is to angle your car exactly in the way that you want to be jumping before you jump. That really helped me a lot back when I was learning to do wall jump aerials. And also pay attention to how long you're holding down jump, because that actually makes a huge difference when you're coming off the walls. That's something a lot of players don't pay too much attention to before they reach, I guess, champ. Well, people get mechanically better at very different ranks, so sometimes you see a plat with just grand champ mechanics. But definitely for me, I didn't pay too much attention to how much I was holding down jump when coming off walls until I was in champ, or maybe champ 2 even. But that's definitely something that you want to be paying attention to by the looks of things, because this does end up becoming much more of an awkward aerial than it has to be. Jumping too soon, maybe not. I'm trying to help you improve your mechanics, so that's why I'm really diving into this, just to see if there's any concrete tips that I can provide. Yeah, it looked like you're maybe not quite there where you're thinking about where you want to put the ball yet. You're just kind of trying to touch it. So that's maybe the mindset that needs to change, because it looks like you're really just trying to get any sort of touch on it, where you need to be either thinking about, you know, slamming it up into the ceiling or slamming it out and getting the big clear. You definitely need to be starting to think about these things as you come up the wall. So that's gonna make it make a little bit more sense, I think, in your games, if you already know what you're trying to do with the ball, instead of just kind of trying to reach for it. It could also be that you actually just attempted some kind of air dribble out of the back wall here, which is okay, but definitely a risky play if you don't exactly know how to do that well. So you also do a side flip. You actually air roll coming off the wall and then do a side flip. So I guess maybe it's just a one-time thing, fluke. But that's definitely interesting for me to see such a mechanical misplay after having shown such good mechanics all throughout this. So, oh, you hate to see it. The double commit on the kickoff in twos. That's a risky biscuit right there. But you were fortunate not to get scored on, and after that, it seems to be going quite well. Definitely just wanna, you know, it shouldn't be an issue, but just communicate on kickoffs, you know. It really, there's no reason for this to almost become a goal right off the bat. Huge whiff from orange side. I like the taking control of the ball here. That's definitely good to see. It's a very interesting situation because of the huge whiff and you have a lot of boost. So the ball is really literally in your court, and I would say this should probably actually be a goal, either from you outplaying this guy directly or from forcing him into some kind of awkward save and your mate pushing up and scoring it, scoring the follow-up. So I don't know how aware you were of him, but this it seems like it should be a dribble attempt, but it might also be a shot attempt. But the flick is coming out way too early. You need to start recognizing when you have time, and this was definitely one of those situations. You have almost the entire half to yourself, and this guy is moving backwards as you start your dribble. So the flick doesn't need to come out this soon at all. Just kind of ends up, well, actually it does prove to be somewhat difficult for him to deal with, and your mate has a fantastic opportunity that should have been a better shot, in my opinion. Even for low diamond, I would expect a shot up high net and putting the goalkeeper under more pressure. Really nice touches here, moving the ball out. Definitely showing those mechanical abilities again. Good pressure here. Let's see. So this I definitely like to see, getting the pinch, because you're not really sure whether or not you're getting attacked or pressured on the challenge when you're coming back down from the air. So just make sure that you either get a good 50 or a pinch. So that's definitely good to see. And pushing back here, that's definitely right. A little bit of an aggressive turn. Again, we talked about this, are you second man or are you third man in position? And you should be thinking that you're a third man in position. So in this situation, I would be thinking about how can I buy enough time for my mate to get back so that we have a two-man defense again, instead of thinking how can I score this as second man in position. So, but nice to see, adding a little bit of pressure, boosting downwards. The mechanics are really good here. A little bit of an awkward back wall. I would definitely advise working on those back wall clears, because that really does make a tremendous amount of difference once you learn to master those back wall clears. This is sort of putting a lot of pressure on your mate, just awkwardly centering the ball. Fortunately, these guys are not as mechanically good as you are in this lobby, but I would have expected some kind of very risky play here. I would have definitely expected some kind of shot come out from the back wall clear. How far back was it in this situation? The other player has already forfeited control of the ball, so you can take your time with this, because he's completely just gone away. This is all you, and you have a lot of time up here if you realize it. So you can let the ball drop down a bit. There's no pressure. If the ball is at your back wall, they're not going to be able to score it. That's not a high pressure situation. Pushing it out into center like this creates a high pressure situation. So that's this is definitely an area where you need to sort of learn to keep your cool, even if you are on the back wall of your side, because where's the ball gonna go if we try to map out the trajectory? This could even be a ball that you just leave for your mate to get, because he should be down in net and ready to come up. So there's a lot of different ways that you could have done this, and you pretty much chose the worst one, I would say, going for the sort of weak clear out into the middle. You could have wrapped around the ball and gone the other side. You could have taken it across the net. You could have even possibly left it for your other mate to get it. So definitely seeing some issues over in the corner and the back wall that are gonna be extremely helpful for you to work on and improve on. So yeah, see this big whiff from MCO, but that definitely could have been a scoring opportunity. Yeah, just quite a big whiff, but nice follow up here. Getting it's really important that you push up and add the pressure there. Not a huge fan of keeping this much pressure when your mate finally joins you, because you don't have any boost. You should just be getting that touch so that that the pressure situation is over for you two, because you're probably both on low boost, but they're also heading back. So as soon as you get that touch out, that means that you can now start recovering and picking up boost pads. So keeping the pressure on like this is super aggressive. I could understand it if you were down 1 or 2 goals and you definitely need a goal within the next, say, 30 seconds. But in this situation with 2v2, with 2 with 1 minute left, there's no need to be hanging around and adding like pressure when your mate is also low on boost. So that's also why this becomes a whiff, because there's so much pressure from having no boost. So definitely lucky that what's this name? EMK0? Yeah, definitely lucky that he's not having the best mechanical day on the field right now. Actually ends up becoming a little bit of a whiff. Super good challenge there with getting the huge dunk despite low boost, but the decision making nonetheless was still extremely risky where it really didn't need to be. So really good kickoff here. Still got some boost. You could have used the boost to get out even quicker, but I definitely done that. I'm not sure what the idea is here for you. He gets a touch. He's out of the play. EMK is rotating back to net. You don't have to take this ball to be so aggressive with this ball right away. You can let this ball fall and take a shot. So if you it seems like you are like almost overly aggressive generally, but if you learn to take your time, that's really... If you see a player like Flakes in the RLCS, like he's facing world-class players, but he still is taking his time on the ball when he's given it. So that's really what separates, I would say, you know, the mechanically gifted aggressive ball chaser who can actually fare quite well, fare all the way up into, I would say, even low champ. You know, you can sort of carry a team with really great mechanics, but you need to also know when to slow it down and to use the space that you're given, because this guy's, well, he might turn, but he's not got much boost because there's just been a kickoff. So, and this guy is going back, and you have a ton of space. So just no need to take the ball like that and sort of get that weird touch and sort of have to recover from that. It's much better to just slam the brakes, basically. Just stand still here, wait a second, the ball lands, and then you take a shot, or you take some kind of dribble situation, you know. Definitely learn to take control of the ball without touching it. You know, I think that would be the most helpful advice I could give mechanically. To realize when you have control of the ball even though you haven't touched it yet. Rotations are good even if they are a bit aggressive. I think you could definitely rank up to champion with these mechanics, and then just playing a bit more safe, I would say. This ends up being just a nice big pass. I'm not sure what your mate is doing here. The ball is allowed to fly for such a long amount of time that I'm not sure why his... Maybe he doesn't have boost? I'm not sure, but unfortunate equalizer with 7 seconds to go, so not really your fault or anything there. Kickoff here is okay, but I would like to see you jump up a little bit more before hitting the kickoff. You kind of want to be dodging into the middle of the ball, so you jump up and then dodge into, you know, the middle instead of down below. So but yeah, kickoffs are definitely decent. Again, playing a little bit of a second man positioning in 2v2 when you should be third. I don't know how you managed to get a 50-50 like that from it, but definitely the wrong decision being made up for by having good mechanics, which is a very risky cocktail because it's gonna mean that you're gonna get stuck somewhere with ranking up because your mechanics just won't be that much better than the other players anymore, and then you'll be stuck making wrong decisions with equal mechanics, and then that's a goal for Orange team in this situation. But yeah, it looked like a really awkward flight from Red guy, and just a super good flight straight to the ball from you. So wrong decision, mechanics make up for it. And OT, so should be interesting here. Again with the very, very passive kickoff, just grabbing one boost and hanging around in net, waiting to see what happens. I don't know if you might be like traumatized from playing in gold or plat and being scored on too many times, but it's gonna be costing you a lot as you try to rank up from this. If you're every single time are gonna be standing in net instead of moving out, you can just go straight for the big boost and then move up instead of worrying about your mate getting dunked on and the other team scoring right away. Really good pass here. This is good time to aggress for you on the ball, because it's just been a kickoff. These two guys are kind of chasing the ball and your mate has an open pass out. So this is definitely one of those times where you need to be aggressive on the ball and you need to just put it in net. Whereas I would say most of the other times that you've jumped up for the ball, it's been a misplay. This time it's definitely a good time to do it. Really solid pass from your mate and a really nice finish. So yeah, all in all I would say it's a really good game from you. Playing too aggressively and your mechanics will not keep being this much better than everybody else. So definitely start playing more like that third guy in rotation, as you are the second man in position. This is the most difficult position to be in twos, also in threes I would say, to be that last man back, because if you never aggress on the ball, you're almost never gonna get any goals. But if you aggress too much, then you're always gonna get scored on. At least when you reach, I would say, the threshold between Diamond and Champ 1. People are not gonna keep missing those open nets. So, but I hope you found this helpful. I hope I wasn't too rough on you or anything like that. Definitely super solid mechanics, so you could probably stand to work to just grind a bit in those corners and on the back wall and really learn to get those powerful clears, or to take control of the ball in those situations. So playing a bit of 1v1, even though you'll probably be demoralized, and just playing 1v1 and trying to learn to take control of the ball and dribble at various moments, that's gonna help you a lot. And to not just rush the ball every time, because that's gonna be a huge difference for you in your offensive play moving on. So yeah, good luck and have fun.